Live now.
We're live? Okay, great. All right, very good. All right, guys, we're starting here. All right, the first thing is, if you do have something that looks like this, please turn them off, right? Turn them on stun, turn them on vibrate, turn them off, if you would, please. Okay, that's
I'm
right.
waiting for that app.
There you go, the stun app. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll send it over.
I'd like a link to that.
Okay, so the second thing real quickly before we get started is a reminder that we are a mastermind. So what's the word? We are a
Mastermind.
A mastermind, and that also includes anybody that doesn't happen to be here, but is watching on Facebook. For sure you as well. You can participate. Good morning, good morning. You can also participate in this mastermind. So in a mastermind, who gets to participate?
We all do.
Anybody who wants to choose
Everybody who wants to can participate in the mastermind. What is the benefit of gathering together and actually having a mastermind morning like what we do every Tuesday morning? What's the benefit of it?
Synergy.
Synergy, absolutely. Who knows what synergy means? Who doesn't know what synergy means? Okay, that's good. It's better to be honest, right? Okay, so the idea is that anytime synergy actually means the sum is bigger than the individual parts, right? That's synergy. So if Richard and I get together, and Richard has a whole bunch of his ideas, and Jeff has a whole bunch of my ideas, and I say, Richard, let's spend an hour figuring out how we can make $1 million together in the next year. And I've noticed that you're really, really good at this, and I think that if we put this plan together, and you do this and I do that, we can make a lot of money. And Richard said, wow, I never really thought about that. That's a good idea. And if we do that, I also know this person, and they could bring this to the table as well, and then we're going to make it 5 times more valuable. And I said, oh, you know what? If you do that, I can also do this. And before we know it, we come up with this totally amazing, amazing idea that neither one of us would have ever come up with on our own. Isn't that true? Raise your hand if you agree. That's true, right? So what happens is, Napoleon Hill talks about it all the time, is that anytime 2 or more minds come together in the spirit of harmony. What's the word, guys?
Harmony.
Thank you. In harmony. We're all vibrating on the same frequency, right? You don't have your agenda and I have my agenda, and your agenda is vibrating at this frequency and my agenda is vibrating at this frequency. We're all vibrating at the same frequency, right? We're all in harmony. What's the word, guys?
Harmony.
Yeah, when you're vibrating in harmony and you're sharing ideas, you come up with the best of ideas. How many would agree? And the more minds you have, the better the ideas. How many would agree?
Yes.
If they're all vibrating in a frequency of harmony. How many would agree? Right? So a mastermind is anytime two or more minds come together, and hopefully a third mind, not hopefully, a third mind is formed, and often a 4th mind and a 5th mind. So we all want to participate. So how many of you guys want to participate? Great. Now the only thing I would say is that it's very easy to decide you want to tell your neighbor something, get involved in the sidebar conversation. So what I ask is for the next 90 minutes, there are no sidebar conversations. I have everybody's agreement on that. Yes?
Yes.
Hello, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Very good. Okay, very good. So let me ask you guys a question. How many of you guys would love to have a whole lot more money in your life? Can I see show hands? Terrific. How many would love to have a whole lot more happiness in your life? How many would love to have a whole lot more of both? Okay, so welcome to Tuesday Mornings with Jeff, and welcome to those of you that aren't here. You should be here, because there's a different energy when you're actually in the same vibrational energy, in the same physical spot as where we all are. We've got all kinds of bagels and breakfast and all kinds of great stuff here. You know, let's give it up for our host, Corey Schwartz. Let's give it up for Corey right now. We love Corey, and he always puts out a totally amazing breakfast for those of us that show up, right? So, what's the expression? 80% of all success is what?
Show it up. Let's show it up.
80% of all success is what?
Show it up.
Come on, twice as loud. What is it?
Show it up.
Thank you. Everything is energy. Let me hear you say that, please.
Everything is energy.
Okay, how many of you guys raise your hand and would like to have a lot more money in your life? I'd like to have a lot more happiness in your life? Okay. How many of you guys would actually like to become financially free? In other words, if you work by choice. How many would like to have that choice? Okay. So if you're going to become financially free, that means there's got to be money coming to you every month to pay the bills. True or true?
True.
Okay, where's all that money coming from? Is it
Other people.
Is it sitting meditating and it's falling from the sky?
Oh,
is
that
it
might
going
work.
up from under the ground? Is it washing in on the shores? Is it blowing in on the breeze? Where's all this money going to come from that's going to create your freedom?
Other people.
Thank you. What's the word?
Other people.
Okay, now, if this money is going to come from other people, is money in a form of energy?
Yes.
How many agree? Money is a form of energy. Okay.
Yes.
In order for you for them to give you their energy, what are you going to have to give them back in return?
Value.
Value. Is value a form of energy?
Yes.
Okay. If you're a low energy person, you know how much of value you're going to be delivering?
No.
You know how much energy you're going to get back in the form of money? Yeah, I see everybody walking around like robots all day long, vibrating at like, you know, they're robots. Really, if how many guys are serious about really becoming the best you can be, financial freedom, reaching your full potential? How many would like that? You don't become that way when you're vibrating at a low energy. You have to practice. What's the word?
Practice.
Come on, twice as loud.
Practice.
You have to practice vibrating at a high energy level. This is why 98% of all the people that I coach and I work with fail in business. Because they're vibrating on a scale of 1 to 10, they're vibrating at a 3. And how you do anything is how you do everything. If you're vibrating on a 1 to 10, you're vibrating at a 3 in here. You know how you're vibrating out there? At a 3. At best. You know what kind of people you're going to attract?
3.
Level 3 people. And you know what kind of results you're going to get in your life?
3.
Level 3 results.
It happens all the time. I see it all the time. And everybody comes here. They say they're going to play at 100%. And they're playing at like 3%. How you do anything is how you do.
Everything.
If you're not going to play at 100%, then don't play at all. Only get into something is your time precious? How many agree your time is precious? Then why would you want to waste your time on anything that doesn't mean something to you? Why would you want to just waste your time? Which is, by the way, guess what people do almost all the time. I bet there isn't any person in this room that doesn't waste time every single day. How many would agree? And some people waste lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of time trying to figure out what they're going to do next. True.
True.
Right? I mean, this is how it is, guys. So how you do anything is how you do everything. If you can't practice playing at a level 10 in here, I guarantee you're never going to play at a level 10 out there. True. How long are we here for in the morning? 90 minutes. If you can't practice being a level 10 person with level 10 energy for 90 minutes, then what the heck's going to happen the second you leave this door? What's going to happen? It's amazing why people struggle constantly. They don't understand why. And it's because their blueprint is not set for success. How many would agree? The person who's a doer, an action taker, in fact, that's what we're going to be talking about in today's wealth class. The person who takes action, constant action, is the person that over the long haul is going to get the best results. Are you the kind of person that can start putting in the action even before you get the results? How many of you are willing to put in the actions before you get the results? Right? And so you've got to be the kind of person that if once you get into something, you're playing it at 100% or not at all. How many would agree? By the way, that's a warrior condition of life. Oh, if you're an enlightened warrior, what we trained, what Harv trained is this. If you're going to do something at 50%, don't bother. Find 1 or 2, 3 things in your life that you're going to give 100% to and get rid of everything else. Because here's the problem. Most people are not focused on the one thing that can get them to the path to freedom the most. They're doing 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 things. And they're doing this at 40%, and this one at 60%, and this one at 20%, and this one at 70%. And you know what? They're mediocre at everything. True.
True.
Okay. So see what I wrote here? I am the CEO of my own startup company. Guess what? For each one of you and anybody that's watching, guess what? Every single one of you, you are the CEO of your own startup company. Let me ask you something. How many startup companies have you successfully grown? 1? Okay. How many?
1.
You've successfully grown 1? How many successful startup companies do you think the average person has grown?
0.
Yeah. How well trained do you think most people are at knowing how to start and grow a startup business?
Not at all.
Not at all, okay. But all of us, whether we have a job or whether we have a business, We are the CEO of our own startup company. How many realize that? Okay.
Yep.
So the better you get at knowing how to build a startup company, and the better that you surround yourself with people that can help you get there, the more successful you're going to be. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yep.
Raise your hand if that makes sense to you. Okay.
Makes sense.
So until you begin to adopt the attitude that you are the CEO of your own startup company. So I am the CEO of Jeff Fagin Corporation. And you are the CEO of your name corporation. How many would agree?
Yep.
How many of you guys would agree?
Oh, yes.
Okay. The reason that I see so many people struggle, the reason for Tuesday mornings, the reason for the 2% Club, is because the first thing you have to do is you have to become aware. What's a word?
Aware.
Yeah, you have to become aware that you are the CEO of your own startup company. You are. And the problem is that nowhere along the educational curve were you ever taught how to become a successful CEO of your own self. True or true? True. Right? Okay, now one of the things that we know is we know this. And we know this because we've read about it. Good morning. We've read about it. We've talked about it many, many times. Who knows what this is? Yeah. These are the cash flow quadrants. What are they?
Cash flow quadrants.
Are you guys awake? What are these?
Cash flow quadrants.
Thank you. Okay. Again, I'm going to call you guys. Let me ask you guys something. The first thing I want to remind you is, first of all, we talked about the fact that 8% of all success is just what? Showing up. So what I want you guys to do real quickly is just reach around, pat both your neighbors on the back and say, congratulations for showing up.
Congratulations for showing up.
Right.
Congratulations.
All right, have a seat, guys. Have a seat. Okay. So before we really get into more of this training, I want to remind you guys I have 2 rules. How many rules do I have, guys?
2 rules.
2 rules. The first rule is this: don't believe a word I say. Why do I always remind people not to believe a word I say?
Our experience is what matters most.
Well, and not only that, I can only come from my own experience, and my own experience is just my own experience. It isn't true or false or right or wrong, it's just my own experience. But whose experience is important here this morning? Hey, Joey?
Mine is.
And your experience is important here this morning, right? Way more important than my experience. So all I can tell you is that the principles and the ideas we're going to talk about this morning, especially wealth law number 16, have totally transformed my life, and it's now transformed the lives of literally thousands and thousands and
Thousands.
thank you, thousands of other people. And if you learn these principles we're going to be talking about today, when you apply them in your life will be transformed as well. So how many of you guys would be willing to be open?
Yeah.
100%? Anybody not? Okay, good. Now, as for rule number 2, since we're spending our precious time here, how many want to get the very, very most out of this morning? Great. How many want to learn faster? How many want to remember more of what you learned? Good. And research indicates the key to that is what?
Participation.
Yep, participation is the word. What's the word, guys?
Participation.
Yeah, participation and involvement, absolutely. How many of you guys notice you ask a lot of questions? Yeah, what do questions do?
Hook the mind.
Questions hook the mind. Let me hear you. Questions?
Hook the mind.
Again, please.
Questions hook the
Hook the
mind.
mind.
Questions hook the mind. Great. How many of you guys are in business or in sales or in marketing? If you're the CEO of your own business, I guarantee your own corporation, I guarantee you, every single one of us are in the business of sales and marketing. True or true?
True.
So how many of you guys have clients you'd like to have clients? How many would like to have clients actually listen to you every once in a while? Okay. From now on, what are you going to do? You're going to ask them a
Question.
And I can teach you, and I do teach, exactly what kind of questions to ask, what sequence to ask them in, how to ask those questions the right way, so that by the time you're done asking the questions, you're really on top of the situation. You totally own it. Because you know what? In any conversation, there's the person in control of the conversation and the person who's not in control. in any conversation, which would you prefer to be? The person in control or the person not in control?
In control.
Do you know how you control conversation?
Questions.
What's the answer?
Questions.
What's the answer, guys?
Questions.
You can 100% control every conversation by asking
Questions.
And if they're pre-planned questions, you can guide that conversation exactly down the path you want to guide it down. True or true?
True.
This is how people get rich. By simply learning how to ask the right
Question.
Absolutely, you bet. Now, sometimes I leave the last word off the end of my sentence, and your mind just fills in the
Right.
Very good. Good job, guys. Okay, sometimes I ask you to write stuff down. Sometimes I ask you to repeat things. Why do I always ask you to repeat stuff? Why?
Repetition is the mother of all learning.
Repetition is the mother of all learning. That's one of the big reasons why. Why else?
Because when you say it means one thing, but when I say it means
Everything.
Yeah, how many would agree that when I say it means one thing, when you say it, it means
Everything.
Absolutely, you bet. So how many guys want to participate 100%? Is anybody not? Okay, now remember, you said you would be willing to be open 100%. How many agree? You remember that it was only just a couple, and now you've just agreed that you're willing to play at 100%, participate 100%. Raise your hand if you agree. You don't have to, but I'm going to call you now because I saw you, every person in this room raise their hand and said they would participate 100%. True, true? True. Hello, yes?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to call you because, you know what? We lie to ourselves all day long, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we say we're going to do one thing and then we don't do it. You know, we lie to ourselves constantly. In fact, we're the biggest liars on the planet. We lie to ourselves so constantly when we buy our bullshit, pardon my language, but we do. So I'm going to call you on your bullshit here. Everybody said you were going to play at 100%. Everybody said they would participate at 100%. Yes?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, very good. So let's talk about this. E, S, B, and I. These are called the cash flow quadrants. And the cash flow quadrants was actually called that and introduced that to the world by Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter, Rich Dad Poor Dad. True or true?
True.
How many of you guys know who these people are? Right? And I know them well. Sharon in particular, I'm a huge fan of Sharon's. And what did they say? They said people will fall into one of these four quadrants. You know, now, the E quadrant stands for what, guys?
Employee.
Employees, all right? Okay, so an employee is a person that trades time for money. Now, raise your hand if you've ever been an employee. Raise your hand if you're still an employee. Okay, so we have a lot of employees. Now, S stands for self-employed. Now, this person owns a job. This person created a job for themselves. They're still trading time for money. It's just that now they bought themselves a job. True. Right? When they're not working, a self-employed person isn't working. How much money is their business making?
Zero.
That's why a lot of people who are self-employed mistakenly think they're in business. They're not. They don't have a business. They're self-employed. Is there a difference between being a self-employed person and being a business owner?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a huge difference, although many people that I know that are self-employed think that they're business owners and they're not. They're self-employed. True.
True.
Okay, is it important that you know the difference?
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
think there's a lot of people that think if they're self-employed that they have a business?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't have a business. They have a job. They don't have a business.
Still beats the hell out of E.
Still beats the hell out of me. You know what? For people like you and me, Amy, I would agree. But for most people, being self-employed, it's like they thought they were getting into a business to give them freedom and wealth, and now they realize that their business owns them 24/7, 365, which is not why they got into it in the first place. That's unfortunate with the majority of the people, because the majority of the people have never understood that if you're the main cog in the wheel, eventually you will become the main
Cog.
Yeah, okay. So
But if you
E's
start
and
out,
S's.
as an E, right, and you understand this, and you move to an S,
Yeah.
and then you understand that.
Yeah, then you
know,
move to a B, and
exactly.
then you move to an I.
I mean, so
It's a process.
Yeah, it's a process.
You're
Because some
right.
people are sitting on E and they think that's life.
Oh,
I mean,
no question. And
you
a
know.
lot of people want to go to E to D and they've never been an S. And you know what? There's a huge difference between getting a paycheck every month and knowing that if I don't go out there and drum up some business, I am evil. True.
Right.
As soon as you go from having a regular paycheck to, oh geez, man, where's that next check coming in to pay my bills? That's a whole new set of challenges that you never used to have to worry about in the past. True, true. All you have to do is show up at work every single week, and that check came in twice a month or twice every 2 weeks, no matter what. True, true. Isn't that the way it is?
It is.
Yeah, and that became our comfort zone. We said, oh, I like that every week, every month. I know exactly how many I got sick leave time, I got vacation time, right? I mean, that's what we're all programmed for. The problem is that we're unless you're the CEO of a company or you're a high-paid professional, a C-level executive in a company, and you're making a couple $100,000 a year, are you ever going to get rich being an employee?
Nope.
No. In fact, most people who are self-employed, they're even poorer than these people. The majority of them.
But we're happier.
Maybe. Sometimes they're happier, but you know, after being broke for a while, it's not fun being happy. You know, it's great to work for ourselves as long as we're successful. The problem is
Yeah.
that a lot of people aren't.
Sure. Well, a lot of the E's though, like, so they'll call me up and they'll say, I want to know what you do. And I say, fine. And I tell them exactly what it is. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, crap, that's like, I thought it sucked having a place I needed to be 70 hours a week, but there's a secretary that answers the phone.
Yeah.
There's a phone.
Yeah.
There's computers with CRMs in them. You know, there's an HR department.
Yeah.
They get paid time off and what have you, sick leave. They have health insurance available. And so they see the S stuff and they want it, and then they hear what it takes to be the S, and then they slide right back into 70 hours a week being an E.
Absolutely, because all of us are programmed. We're all conditioned to be an E. How many would agree?
Yeah.
Right? We're programmed from the time we were infants. I mean, think about it. How many of you guys went to school? Okay, you went to school. How many of you had teachers? So, hopefully, right? Okay, you went to school, you had teachers. Okay. Now, when you were in public school, kindergarten through 8th grade, you had teachers, true?
Yeah.
Were they employers or employees?
Employees.
What could they teach you to be?
An employee.
Okay, then you went to high school. Okay, now you had high school teachers. Were they employers or employees?
Employees.
Okay, what could they teach you to be?
To be an
Okay,
employee.
then you went on to college, like I did. Let's say you got an undergraduate degree. Even my undergraduate degree in business, my business instructors and my business professors, were they employers or employees?
Employees.
Then I went and got my MBA. I had higher level instructors. Were they employers or employees?
Still.
Now I'm 24 years old. I've been through grade school, high school, undergraduate, graduate. I'm 24 years old. Every single person that trained me, taught me, guess what they all were?
Employees.
What could they teach me to be?
An employee.
If you went to school, guess what you were programmed to be?
Employee.
If you were a teenager and you went to your parents and said, hey, I want some money to go out, what'd they say? Go get a
job.
Go to work. Raise your hand if you ever heard that before. If you want money, you gotta work for it. Raise your hand if you ever heard that before. And you gotta work darn hard too, right? Raise your hand if you heard that. If you want money, you gotta work. Nobody ever said if you want money, you gotta create passive income streams. How many times does someone say, go out there and create some passive income? No, they say, go get a job, go to work. If it's not in your DNA to go out there and go from here, let's talk about this now. Here, in both situations, we've been programmed to be this, people who either can't get a job or hate having a job where they report to other people. They would prefer to be an S. According to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, Sharon Lechter, these people represent 95% of all the population. Over 9 out of every 10 people you meet fall into one of these two categories, and they get to share in 5% of all the profits and income that's earned every year. Smart, right? Rich, I think that's pretty smart. Yeah, really, really smart. Okay, so here, in both cases, we're trading time for money. What are we doing?
Time for money.
Okay, how many of you guys want to become financially free? No matter how much energy you put in, there's only so many hours in a day. True or true?
True.
Okay, which means you need to understand what's going on with the other 5% of the people who are getting to share in 95% of all the profits and all the income. Nobody's been programmed to be this. Everybody's been programmed pretty much to be this. True or true?
True.
Now, B stands for what?
Business
A
owner.
business owner. A business owner leverages systems. What does a business owner leverage?
Systems.
Systems. Yeah, systems. And I stands for
Investors.
an investor leverages
Money.
money. Yeah, they leverage money. Okay. Okay, both of them are using the word. What's the word, guys?
Leverage.
Come on, twice as loud.
Leverage.
You will never. What's the word? Never. In your lifetime, become financially free until you understand the power of the word.
Leverage.
Yeah. How many ever heard of OPM?
Other people's money,
Yeah. How about OPK?
other people's knowledge.
Other people's knowledge. Did you know you can get rich based on those two things alone? Or one or the other. They may not have the money, but they may well have the knowledge. Can you leverage other people's knowledge?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you believe that's true.
It's true.
Yeah, Scott and I right now, we're leveraging other people's knowledge like crazy. True, Scott? Absolutely. You can get rich if you know whose knowledge to leverage. True.
Oh, yeah.
All you gotta do is find out who has the knowledge I need to leverage to get rich. Yeah, and the best way to find out who those people are is find out people who are successfully doing something and see what they're doing and see if maybe that resonates with you. You can learn how to do it too. True. There's all kinds of people. All right. So leverage. Now, the really smart business owner, the goal is when you're in a startup mode, you're starting up a business. All of you guys are in startup mode right now. You're your own business LLC, right? Okay, well, put your name first. You are the CEO of yourself. It's up to you to make your business successful, right? Isn't that true?
Yes.
In a business, in a company, where does the buck stop?
With me.
With who? In the business.
Me.
What's the title of the person where the buck stops with?
CEO.
What's the title?
CEO.
Good or bad, the CEO, when things go good, the CEO gets all the credit. When things go bad, the CEO takes all the blame. True. Yes, that's it. Okay. Guess what? You're your CEO. Guess where the buck stops in your life? You. Not your parents, not your teachers, not your boss, not your employees, not your upline, not your downline, not your kids. Nobody. The buck for your CE, for your company ends with you. You get all the credit, you get all the blame. So it's up to you to make this thing successful. True. Okay. So now you're the CEO of your own company. You can either choose to take a job, and that's your choice. How many would agree? Yeah. You can choose to become a self-employed person. That's your choice, right? You can choose to be a business owner, or you can choose to be an investor. Now, it's hard to choose to be an investor if you don't have any money, because you don't have any money to leverage. True. But what you do is you find people, let's say, I found out Amy's this multi-millionaire, her credit is absolutely fantastic. And she can borrow $3 million on her home equity line of credit at 2% interest, because on home equity lines of credit, the interest rates are really low. And some people have, great credit, they have lots of money. And I say, Amy, you know what? I know how we can make 18% of our money. So, because I'm an investor. And I know people out there that are really doing great, they're making like 100% on their money, they'll gladly pay me 18%. So if we can get your $3 million that you're borrowing at 2%, and we can earn 18% on it, we'll arbitrage that money and make 16% on $3 million. What's 16% on $3 million?
A lot of money.
$480,000. I'll take $100,000. You keep $380. It's your credit. You want to do it? Let's do it. Now, I have no money. I just made a whole bunch of money out of nothing. True. Are there people out there that have fantastic credit that are not leveraging their credit? Where are there people? A lot of people have bought houses in the Phoenix area since 2010. They've got $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 of equity in their home now. True. If they have good credit, they could go get a home equity line of credit at some ridiculously low rate, because rates right now are ridiculously low. And now you're borrowing money at this low rate and you're lending it out at this higher rate. And after you pay your costs to borrow the money, because you got to pay the 2%, the 16% difference between what you're earning and what you're paying is your profit. That's just leveraging money. True. And usually these people hang out with these people because these are the ones that are willing to pay the 18%. Because they got a good business, they got a lot of profit, they just don't have cash. True. Yeah, I mean, you might even get a piece of the action on top of it. Yeah, I'm going to get 18% and 10% of your company. I would like that. We didn't ever like to do that. All with borrowed money. True. Now, I'm telling you, if you wanted to, if you began searching for people that had good credit and had equity, a lot of people don't do this because they don't even know they could. Isn't that true? Yeah. It's just one idea, but for the most part, all of us can learn how to succeed in the B quadrant. Now, the B quadrant, if you understand it, it's a business. We leverage systems. What do we leverage?
Systems.
We are not the main cog in the wheel. It's not, the business is not dependent on if we show up every day and do our job. Maybe at the beginning it is, but I teach, and what you need to understand is that you're going to replace yourself with systems. So what are you replacing yourself with?
Systems.
What are you replacing yourself with?
Systems.
Yeah, if the system, how many of you guys have ever heard of CEOs and presidents of companies that spend more time out in the golf course than they spend in their office? What's replaced them back in the office?
Systems.
Yeah, the systems. This is how we do this. We hire this person who has this job, they're responsible for doing this. We have these autoresponders that every time somebody does this, the autoresponder does that. We do this, we do this. All of it is done by virtual assistants, by staff, by automation. We have been replaced by the system. When you're buying McDonald's, are you buying a restaurant or are you buying the McDonald's system? What are you buying? Yeah, you don't have to think about anything. Nothing. Everything's already been thought through. You're going to hire people, you're going to show them this is how they do their job. You're going to hire this person, this is going to do their job. But when you're starting your business, you may not have the money to hire all the people, and you may be the person, you may start on your own, but if you understand what the B quadrant means is, every day, all day long, as you're doing what you're doing, you're thinking, here's the question, write it down. How can this be done without me? Let me hear you say it.
How can this be done without me?
Again.
How can this be done without me?
Again.
How can this be done without me?
Yeah, so if you're writing 40 people in the morning and saying, hey, I'd like to connect with you, please let me know if you'd be open to connecting, right? Like on LinkedIn, right? Okay, now I could one at a time be sending these things out, and while I'm sending them out, what am I thinking to myself? What am I thinking to myself?
How can this be done without me?
Let me hear you say it.
How can this be done without
Okay,
me?
all day long, everything you're doing, especially if it's not revenue generating, and after it's revenue generating, let's say, because the most important thing for you to be doing is revenue generating activities. How many would agree? If you're going to be successful in the B quadrant, you have to deliver lots and lots and lots of your product and your service and be getting paid for it. True. If you're not delivering a lot of value, you're not going to get paid a lot of money. Isn't that true? It's called the law of income. What's it called?
Law of income.
The law of income. You should write it down if you don't know it. Critical you know this. The law of income states, I will be paid. Let me hear you say it.
I will be paid.
In direct proportion.
In direct proportion
To the value I deliver.
to the value I deliver
According to the marketplace.
according to the marketplace.
That's the law. It's a law. What is it?
a law.
If you don't deliver a lot, you don't get paid a lot. How many agree with that? It's a law. You can't deliver a little and get paid a lot. You need to deliver a lot of energy, a lot of value, energy value, to get a lot of money value in return. True or true?
True.
It's a law. Now, I didn't say produce, I said deliver. What is the difference between produce and deliver?
You don't need to be the one producing the value in order to deliver.
Very true. You don't need to be the one in order to deliver. You don't even have to be the one delivering it, actually. But what is the difference between producing and delivering? Yes, go ahead.
I could build a bunch of stuff and stack it up in a warehouse. That would be
Yeah. How many of
producing.
you heard of people who have boxes of books that they wrote, and they're sitting in their garages, in their basements, if you have any here, because they were produced, but they were never what? Delivered. Yeah. On the delivery, that's when the rubber meets the road. That's when the customer says, "I'll take it," and
money
you
is
get paid.
exchanged.
You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yep, the
Without
exchange.
delivery, there's no money.
Right.
How many understand what I just said?
Yeah.
Okay. You will get paid in direct proportion to the value you deliver. What's the word?
Deliver.
Not produce. Nobody cares how much you produce. And what's another word for deliver?
So.
Yeah. Thank you. A dirty word in many people's vocabularies. Sell. But you will get paid in direct proportion to the value you sell. And who determines the value that you're selling?
The marketplace.
The market. You might say, I have a home that's worth $400,000, but if nobody's willing to give you more than $300,000, you know how much your home is really worth? Because you don't set the value, the market sets the value.
Yep.
Right? Now, can you build your value? You sure as hell can. I can teach you how to do that, but you better understand that, right? So, you're going to leverage business systems. So eventually, you're like, from now on, I want for you guys to think of yourself as like an orchestra conductor. How many of you guys have ever seen an orchestra? Okay, when the orchestra conductor picks up the baton and he's facing the entire orchestra, is he playing an instrument? No. No. Why is he not playing the instrument? Why? It's his job to conduct the orchestra, right? He may be the best violinist in the world, the best trumpet player in the world, the best celloist in the world. It doesn't matter. If he's going to be the orchestra conductor, he needs to be the person conducting the orchestra. True or true? Right, okay. I want you guys to think about it. Now, does an orchestra conductor need a good violinist? Maybe 2 or 3, right? Do they need all these different departments that make up an orchestra?
Yeah.
And do each one of them have different skills playing different kinds of instruments?
Yes.
But when they all come together in the spirit of harmony and they play their music in the spirit of harmony, they make amazing music. True or true?
True.
Okay. So, at the beginning, when you're first starting up your business, you're a startup. You don't have unlimited money to hire people, do all this stuff, and you don't have a system for anything. So what you're going to do is all day long, you're going to say, well, what do I do first thing in the day? Well, I kill 4 hours. Okay, well, I got to change that. Okay, the best thing for me to do is make a list of what are like the 5 most important things I need to get done today and write them down. Top 5 goals. And and 4 of those 5 goals better be revenue generating activity type goals. What am I doing because what's the law of income? If you're in business, are you in business for fun or are you in business to create your freedom? If you're in business for fun, that's called a hobby. What's it called? I'm not talking to you guys, the ones that are talking about hobby. I'm talking about if you're looking at business as your vehicle for success, your vehicle for freedom. Because if you automate your business, if you set up your business properly within 2 years, let's use the example of Sam Walton. How many of you guys know Sam Walton?
Yeah.
Sam Walton, what did he create? Walmart. Was that a little company or a big company? Huge company. He was worth billions of dollars. True or true? One of the world's greatest retailers in the history of retail. True or true?
True.
What did he do? He started off with one small store in one small town, making one small profit. First, with him in the store, running all the departments and setting up all the vendors and figuring out how to do all the marketing and figuring out how to hire and train all the people. And then within a year or 2, he didn't have to be at the store anymore. True or true?
True.
And that became his business system. What did it become?
His business system.
That since he didn't have to be in the store, how many stores could he now open up?
Unlimited.
Multiple.
He could take the exact same store that he started off in Arkansas and duplicate it in here, in this other little small town, in this other little small town. Are there a lot of small towns in America? Yeah. He said, I'm not even going to go now. Now he's in all the big towns. That's not how Walmart started. Walmart started in all small town America. He didn't say, what do I need to? He says, I have a formula that works. My formula is to start a store up in small towns. Just because I'm having success in lots of small towns doesn't mean I can go into the big cities and compete against the big cities. But eventually he became so huge that he had the buying power, because he had so many stores, that he could compete with anybody, even in the big cities. And then he went into the big cities. True or true?
True.
But what did he do? Within a couple of years, he started off with one little store in one little town, making one little profit, and he systemized the store so he could run without him. The system replaced who? Guess what your system is going to replace?
Me.
Yeah, you got a year or two to make that happen. If you focus on that, imagine if in a year or two you have a system now that pays you 10 grand every month, whether you show up or not. How many would like that?
Yes.
It's called like your golden goose. What's it called?
Your golden goose.
And you build the golden goose, and after you build it, build it big and strong and healthy. It's going to lay golden eggs. Guess who gets to enjoy those golden eggs?
Me.
And as long as you don't kill the goose, guess what you keep getting? Golden eggs. Once you learn how to build one golden goose, another way of saying it is a money machine. How would you like to build a money machine that after you build it, every time you crank it, outspits 5 grand? How would you like to have that? I'd like to build a second one, and a third one, and a fourth one. Once you learn how to build them, can you build more than one?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same formula, maybe a different product or a different service. It's all about delivering
Value.
twice as loud, please.
Value.
Value. Now, if you understand what I just said, you're going to understand that if you have systems that work, are there people who have money looking for people that have systems that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are lots of people out there that have money looking for systems that work. So if you say, well, I don't have the money, well, if you've got a program that works, man, I'll show you how to find the money. There's people out there that have money looking for people just like you. True or true?
True.
Okay, so maybe you want to become a broker. You say, I know people have great ideas. I know people who have money. I'll broker them together. Do you think that might be a good job?
It is a good
I think
job.
that might be a pretty lucrative job. Yeah. You know, the person that's desperately looking for money might be willing to give you a piece of the action, and the person desperately looking to lend their money at a good rate might be willing to give you a finder's fee. And you're making money at both ends. True or true?
Yeah.
Okay, so that could be a business. Isn't that true? Yeah, it sure could be. They're out there. Okay, so what we want to talk about for the balance of this time is 3 things. What we know is you're going to have to begin to start practicing. What's the word?
Practicing.
The word leverage. What's the word?
Leverage.
Yeah, OPM, OPK. Other people's money, other people's knowledge, right? You're going to have to start learning how to create and leverage systems. True or true?
True.
Okay. If you can hire a VA for 2 hours a day, and that takes 2 hours of tedious stuff off your plate, and it's only going to cost you 10 or 12 bucks a day to do it, is it worth it?
It is.
Yeah, you better figure out what's the best use of your time. What's the best use of your time? What's the best use of your time? Really? Okay. Okay, if you're in business, what's the best use of your time? You're in business. Adding value to your business? Okay, what do you say, Scott?
Revenue generating
Revenue
activities.
generating activities? That's easy for you to say.
Or hard.
What's the best use of your time? Marketing and sales. What's the best use of your time? What's the best use of your time? What's the best use of your time?
I want to say something different than
That's
all
okay.
that. I'm going to say networking.
Networking, okay, that's a form of marketing.
Right.
It is. Because it totally is. And by the way, I don't disagree with you. I think networking is an important part of sales and marketing. What's the best use of your time, Randy?
Building systems and marketing and sales.
Building systems and marketing.
Well, you
and
might
sales.
as well
By the
say
way,
and
I agree.
I'm going to
Rich,
say something that encapsulates all of this.
Yes.
And it's creative thought.
creative thought. Creative thought, but it has to be focused because
Yes.
you have lots of creative thought.
Yes.
But and by the way,
I agree.
creative thought without follow-up action is still irrelevant.
But I
Yes.
like his creative thought because encapsulizes is not a word.
What's the best use of your time?
Marketing and sales.
Marketing and sales. What's the best use of your time? What's the best use of your time?
It's revenue generating things.
Okay, revenue generating activity. Now, do you think most people that are CEOs of themselves really invest most of their time in? Yes, go ahead.
Actually, I want to, instead of marketing and sales, firing myself.
Firing yourself?
Do
you
it.
know what?
The best
You know what?
use of your time.
Sometimes the best thing you can do is fire yourself and hire someone that really knows what to do and is going to do it.
Right.
And as long as you keep that job, you are stuck. So thank you for sharing
It's
that.
true.
That's one of the that's a great thing. In fact, I had a really good friend, and he said, you know what, I suck at sales and marketing. I'm firing myself, and that's exactly what he said.
Yep,
Because
it's
you
time
know
to
what,
do
for many people, but I would say if there's one area of business that you want to practice getting better at on a daily basis, it's marketing and sales. You may not be as great a copywriter, you may not be as great in branding, but the more you understand marketing and sales, the better the networker you're going to be, the better you're going to be able to brand yourself, because at the end of the day, nobody knows you and your business better than you do. Nobody can share their stories, your stories, the way you can. Nobody can share your passion the way you have for what you're doing. You can hire other people, to write stuff and create stuff, but the more, because you know what are you going to do every time, if you're depending on other people for your marketing, what are you going to do every single time that you need to make a change? You're going to be bothering them all the time. At some point, one of the best things you can invest in is simply learning the foundational principles of sales and marketing, even if you have other people doing it for you. How many would agree? Because you know what, like I said, if you're going to hire other people to do it for you, if they're any good, you're not their only client. True or true? If they're any good, they're busy with lots of other clients, which means how much of their time can they dedicate just to you and your business? They can't. There's no way. Not if they're good. If they're good, guaranteed they got other clients. True or true?
True.
Right? The person that's going to know you and invest more time in you is you. So again, I agree with you. I totally agree that there's many areas of marketing, in fact almost all areas of marketing that you want to be able to hand off, but you definitely want to learn how to become the ultimate closer. By the time you meet with someone, if they meet with you and they're remotely interested at all in what your value is, you know how to close everybody. They call them rainmakers. What's the word?
Rainmakers.
In every single successful business, there's somebody in the organization that is the rainmaker. You may have a law firm and you have a bunch of great lawyers, and you have one guy and all he does is bring in the clients. He doesn't do any cases. He's not even a lawyer. But without that rainmaker bringing in all the clients and bringing in all the money, how much work are those lawyers going to have? None. You can't name a successful company that doesn't have someone that knows how to make rain, which is just another expression of saying they know how to make lots and lots of sales. Who's the most valuable person in your organization?
The sales guy.
The rainmaker. Without your rainmaker, you know how long you're going to be in business? You could be in business a long time, struggling, barely getting by. When you have a rainmaker, that changes everything. If I know I got a guy every month, I don't know where he brings in all these orders, but I get $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 out of the orders out of him every single month. He's making a 30% commission, so 30% on $50,000, you're making $15,000 a month in commissions. I'll gladly pay them to you because my profits still, I built in that 30% for commissions. You're making a lot of money making rain, and without you making rain, how long am I going to be in business? And you think I want to do everything in my power to keep you? Yeah, I want to, and I'm going to say, I want to find out what you're doing so you can train 10 other people to do exactly what you're doing, because I want 10 rainmakers. Or and on top of that, you're going to manage those 10 rainmakers, and you're going to get an override on them. Now I got a team of rainmakers, and you can still go do your rainmaking, and you're going to train all these other people, and you'll make money on their money. I'm telling you, rainmaking, learning how to become great at closing people is incredible. And it's a skill, it's a talent, it's something all of us can learn. How many would agree? Okay, very good. So what we want to talk about here is, if the goal is financial freedom in 3 years or less, the fastest way, and 2 years or less, the fastest way to do that is to build a business of your own, and we're going to call it a money machine. And eventually we want to be like that orchestra conductor where guess what we need to do? All we are going to do is conduct the orchestra because we've got all the systems in for all the other pieces of the business, and now we're busy conducting the orchestra. So if there's a problem in this area, guess where we can go? Go help them in that area. If there's a problem in this area, guess where we can go? We can go help them. We've got the freedom to go wherever we want to go because we're not busy doing what we got to do. We're not a cog in the wheel. How many understand what I just said? This is not what you're programmed in school. Nobody programs you to be this way. Everybody thinks they need to be the center. They need to be the star. And I will tell you that the most incredibly talented person I ever met in my entire life, his name was T. Harv Eker. Here's a picture of Harv. Known him pretty much my whole life, right? How many of you guys have ever actually seen Harv in action? See, he's retired now. Nobody ever seen him. He's a super genius. And I will tell you, he was by far the most brilliant man I ever met. And he totally understood the psychology of going from average to superstar fast. One of the best things every single one of you guys could do, every single one of you, is to get a PR person that's going to brand you as the authority. Because you're not going to do that for yourself, are you? You're not. You don't even know how to. And you're not going to do as well as they could. But if you brand yourself the right way, look, I'm on LinkedIn all the time now, guys. How many guys know what LinkedIn is? LinkedIn is a networking platform. What is it?
Networking platform.
For professionals, business people, business owners, entrepreneurs, salespeople, people looking to move up in the world, CEOs, CFOs. True or true? True. Okay, so you know what? If you have a website, what is the purpose of your website? To get as many eyeballs as possible that might be interested in what you got to look at your website. Isn't that true? Do you care what your website looks like? Or you don't give a rat's ass what your website looks like?
I care.
Everybody, no, I'm not saying you're going to do it. I'm saying, is it important that your website looks presentable?
Presentable,
Yeah, it's got to. I mean, otherwise people are going to come to your website and say, this person's an amateur, or they look at it for 3 seconds and they move on to the next thing. Right? That's called the bounce rate, right? We know the bounce rates generally are high. If you don't capture their attention in the first 2 or 3 seconds, they're off. True or true?
True.
What's the sense of spending a lot of money on ads to send people to your website if everybody spends 2 seconds there and leaves? You just wasted a whole bunch of money on ads, didn't you? So you got to have a good website. You have to have something compelling on it. Now, let's say you don't have a website. Suppose you're going to create a marketing funnel. You're selling one product. The goal is to get as many eyeballs as possible on that landing page so they can see your offer. True or true? True. And do you care what's on that landing page when they get there, or you don't give a shit?
You care.
You care. Okay. Now, on LinkedIn, your goal is to network with really successful people. How many would agree? That would be a good thing to do. To have about 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300 more people in your network that are hugely successful at what they do. Level 8s, 9s, and 10s. How many think it would be a great idea to fill your network with level 8, 9s, and 10 people? Good. Okay. Do you think they're on LinkedIn?
They are.
They darn well are. Okay. So now, with LinkedIn, the goal is your profile page is like your website, or it's like your landing page. Do you think you should care what people see when they land on your profile page?
Yeah.
The goal on LinkedIn is to get eyeballs to look at your profile page. That's the goal. Instead of getting them to go to your website and checking out your website, instead of getting them to go to your landing page, if you're on LinkedIn and I say, hey, I'd love to connect with you. I saw your profile on LinkedIn. I'm hoping they're going to click on my profile. They're going to look at my profile. True or true?
True.
Okay. You know, I look at dozens and dozens of profiles every single day. And what I see is amateur, 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 amateur. There is a boilerplate template little banner at the top that everybody on LinkedIn automatically gets if they don't change it. It's blue with some stars on it. So that would be like if I said, well, I'm going to build you a website, and I'm going to use the boilerplate blue with stars at the top banner. No words or anything on it, but that's what we'll put up there. Would you be happy with that?
No.
That's the first thing people are going to see when they come to your page. That's the very first thing they see. They see, and I go on LinkedIn, and 98% of the time, I see the same boilerplate blue banner. Do you guys know what I'm talking about, by the way? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows, because everybody has that, to begin with anyways. What does that tell me about this person?
They have
They don't
What's that tell me before I know anything else about them?
They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to work with level 8, 9s, and 10 people, and here's their opportunity to put their first step forward, first foot forward. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. How many would agree? That's true, right? Okay. So they put themselves on LinkedIn. If you put yourself out on LinkedIn and you put yourself out as a total amateur, would you be better off to just not be on LinkedIn at all? You're coming across as a loser. You're coming across to anybody that cares. How many of you guys believe that for you to be successful, you're going to have to work with other people? You want to work with 8s, 9s, and 10s? Level 8, 9s, and 10s, or 1s, 2s, and 3s?
8, 9, 10.
8, 9s, and 10s. Okay. So if I go to somebody's landing page, their profile page, and I look at it, the first thing I see is they have the generic blue. I see they have like 7 endorsements for something that they're not even saying they do anymore. And they got 1 recommendation, 1, and they've never given any. Do I seriously want to work with that person? Do I?
No.
Do you? No. What if I went to that landing page and I saw a banner that looked really like, well, that's pretty impressive. And I read through their profile, and now I see that when it comes to branding, which is what they say they're really good at, they have 99 plus people that endorse them for branding. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say endorsing? You know how much it costs to endorse somebody? Nothing. You want to get involved with more people? Guess what you can start doing for free every day? Just start endorsing them. I do it all the time. Guess what they do in return? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So now I see, oh, here you say you're great at branding, and I see 99 people plus endorsed you for branding. You also said you're really great at creating marketing funnels, and I see that 99 plus people endorse you for creating marketing funnels. And you also said that you were great at coaching, and 99 plus people have endorsed you for coaching. And you have 47 reviews, 47 recommendations. Some as recently as just a week ago. And for the last several years, every year there's 10, 12, 14 recommendations, all talking about how they loved working with you and how you always took care of all the problems. And now, if I went to that profile page, do you think I would be interested in meeting that person? How many think I would? Yeah, to me, that person says, okay, this person has lots of people saying they're great. It may be true, it may not be true, but at least this person knows how to brand themselves. If you go to somebody's page and they have no recommendations and no endorsements, what do you think about that person?
That they're not very experienced, that they're not a professional,
Absolutely.
that they're an amateur.
If I guarantee you right now, if you went to Google and you typed in, I don't know, Tempe handyman, guaranteed when the results come up, when you type in Tempe handyman, there will be a map of Tempe with 3 or 4 little red dots. And one of them will say, Randy's handyman service, 2 reviews, 2.5 stars, okay? And then right below that, there's Richard's handyman service. It's got 7 reviews, 3.8 stars. And right next to that, it has, and Terry's handyman service. It's got 147 reviews, 4.4 stars. Who are you going to?
And Terry's.
Why?
Because he's better looking.
Why? It's called reputation management. What's it called?
Reputation management.
You're branding yourself. Don't you want, when people look at you, to be impressed with what they see, or you don't give a shit? And the problem is, what I see, especially on LinkedIn, is why 98% of all the people are struggling all day long because they don't give a
Shit.
They'd be far better off to not be on LinkedIn than to be on LinkedIn and present themselves the way they do. Because they present themselves to be totally level 1 and 2 people. Not the kind of people that you and I want to work with, quite honestly.
Well, I think sometimes people don't understand the purpose of LinkedIn. They got on
Then
there.
what they're telling me is that they don't understand marketing. That's
Well,
what they're telling me.
absolutely, because-
But people, so what that tells me is, as a potential business partner or a JV partner, they may be good at what they do, but they suck at branding and marketing.
Well, I mean, so for instance, when I helped people do what you're now getting help doing, they did not understand that it was about networking. They did not understand it was about reputation management. They didn't understand that it was about I'll go endorse Antares, and then Antares will be like, oh,
You're right. They don't understand it.
They don't get it. So
They
they
don't get it.
start spamming the hell out of people that they don't know and selling on LinkedIn.
Totally.
And that's not what it's for.
No.
And like for me, because I'm B2C, it's a lot less effective than B2B.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of confusion around it, and so that's why I appreciated the opportunity to have professionals come in and share with our group what it is and how they can use it.
Yep.
Because it's underutilized, and the people on Facebook, they don't have the money, and the people on LinkedIn have the money.
Right.
So if you can get them to know, like, and trust you, you
Correct.
can leverage that their knowledge, you can leverage their money, you can leverage their network as well.
Absolutely.
You know, it's definitely, but it's a process, and people that don't
So,
understand it,
so
you know.
Just because I want to get into the wealth fund, we're after 9 o'clock already. But to your point, what I have learned over my 65 years in being in lots and lots and lots of different business collaboration efforts, where you're getting together with other people. If you don't do your due diligence, you get what you deserve. So in other words, you meet somebody, they sound great, you don't really check them out, and then once you start working with them, you find out, oh my God, what a headache this person is. And they're bullshitters, they don't, they're late for everything, they don't do what they say they're gonna do. Man, did I ever make a mistake? Have you guys ever gone through that?
Yeah.
I've gone through that a lot in the last few years, and I said, never again. Anything I get involved in, I'm going to do a thorough due diligence and make sure that the people I'm working with are really legitimate 8s, 9s, and 10s. Because if I'm working with the teams of 8s, 9s, and 10s, you know what kind of results I'm going to get?
8, 9, and 10.
That's what I want at this point in my life. I'm sick and tired of the 1s, 2s, and 3s. And the people that either don't get it on LinkedIn, I don't get them. What I do get is they may be very good at what they do, but when it comes to being the CEO of their own company and marketing and promoting and branding themselves, either they don't care or they don't know, but I'm sure not going to count on them to do any marketing and branding for me because they totally suck at it. And if someone's been on LinkedIn for, they have 500 plus connections and they have 3 recommendations, I'm sorry, to me that tells me all I need to know. If this person is that great, how long would it take for them to reach out to 10 or 20 or 30 of their friends and say, hey, would you do me a favor and write a recommendation for me? It's so easy. How many would agree? It's easy to do. And if someone asked you if you would help them out and write a recommendation, how many would you be willing to do? How much does it cost you to do it?
It's free.
It's free. The more you look, how many ever heard the expression, the more you give, the more you get?
Mm-hmm.
First you give, and
Right.
then you... And when you start giving at 100%, because most of you guys aren't, when you start giving at 100%, guess what you start getting? And until then, you will not.
So everybody go on LinkedIn and send Jeff Fagin a request for him to recommend you for
That's
something
right.
now.
That's right. That's right. Every single one of you guys. In fact, I've written out to several of you already saying, hey, I'm looking to build my LinkedIn profile. I will gladly reciprocate. I even kind of help show you here's what I'd like for you to say. I didn't even help there, so you don't have to do any thinking if you don't want. Sure. I'm telling you guys, LinkedIn, this is where, we talk about this thing, acres of diamonds. All the people that you want to meet.
Good book, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great book. So all the people you want to meet, you either already are connected to them on LinkedIn, or they're connected to the people you want to meet. Every single one of you guys right now would never have to look anywhere else. No, I'm just using LinkedIn because that works for me. For other people, like Amy, for example, when it's more B2C, maybe it's not going to work. But I would say this: I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're B2C. I don't care if you're B2Z, whatever. Having a great network of high-quality business professionals is a great thing to have, no matter what business you're in.
Oh, for sure. Also, there's a thing. There's a thing on there where you can help other people, and that's really what I do there.
Yeah,
because people see me as a, like, I had 48 views this week, and I have people write me that are looking for what I offer, and then they ask me for advice. They ask me to advise them. So it's not always about necessarily making money. Sometimes reputation management is them seeing you as a trusted advisor, or you an expert in your field. And, do I make money off that? Maybe not directly, but indirectly, because now I'm that go-to person. So there's a lot more other things that can be happening besides cashing checks,
Absolutely.
It's a chess game,
It is. For me, when I'm networking with people on LinkedIn, I have no idea how we might be able to help each other.
Right.
All I know is that, they're on LinkedIn, they live in Phoenix, they're either a business owner or an entrepreneur or a salesperson. And if they respond to me, then I check out their profile. And it's amazing how many will come down to my offices, I'll meet with them, and then almost every single one, they say, well, yeah, I'd love to collaborate. And I say, okay, let me come up with some ideas, you guys come up with some ideas. We can host events right here at our offices. We could cross-promote each other. There's a million things we could do. So, if the goal is to build a great base of people, boy, LinkedIn is the way to do it. Okay, well, what we want to do right now is let's do our declarations. On the count of 3, let's stand up with some energy. 1, 2, and 3. Whoa! Okay, does everybody have their card?
Yes, sir.
Does anybody need a card? Everybody got? Okay, so put your hands on your chest so you can actually feel the vibration. Okay, it would help if I turn it right side up. Okay.
Do you need your glasses?
No, almost. Okay, and let's get going here. I commit to my personal development.
Whatever I do it 100% or not at all.
How I do anything is how I do everything. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I choose financial freedom and the lifestyle it provides. My goal is to create passive income streams. I will master the skills and mindset of this. I will never quit until I succeed. I have a millionaire mind. Okay, turn to your neighbor, look him in the eye, give him a high five, say, you have a millionaire mind. You have a millionaire mind. All right, have a seat, guys. All right, have a seat. Okay, so I'm gonna pass around the sign-in sheet, so if you would please make sure that you do take care of the sign-in sheet. We're gonna get started on today's wealth file. We're definitely not gonna get through it, that's for sure. But just going back to what we're talking about here. So how many of you guys realize that within the next 12 to 24 months, you could actually build your own money machine? Raise your hand if you believe that that's possible. That with the right knowledge and the right focus over 12 to 24 months, you could basically be the orchestra conductor, and you will have created all the various systems that need to be in place for your money machine to work. So all you have to do is pull the crank and it pops the money. How many think that would be a good idea? Kind of like what Sam Walton did, right? When Sam Walton started, he pretty much had to do everything. Within a couple of years, he pretty much didn't have to do anything. True. Because what did he do during those 2 years? He created systems. What did he create? Systems. What's the word, guys?
Systems.
Yeah, he created systems. And those systems got to replace who?
Yeah.
And guess what you want to do? You want to create systems that are going to replace who?
Me.
Yeah. So that's the goal. How many believe that if you focus on that over the next 12 to 24 months, you could actually create systems that replace you? Yeah? Absolutely. We all could. Now, the goal is that in order for you to become financially free in a couple of years, you have to be the RV, RK, and RY. And who knows what RV stands for?
Right vehicle.
The right vehicle. For you to do what we're talking about doing in the next 12 to 24 months, are you going to have to be in the right business?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to be selling the right product, the right service, something that's in high demand. Who can tell me what high demand means?
A lot of people want it.
What's that?
A lot of people want it.
Well, more than that.
Pay for it.
Yeah, not only do a lot of people want it, but a lot of people are willing to pay for it. Is that important?
Yes.
You gotta find something out there that a lot of people want. Not just a few, a lot. And they're willing to pay for it. That has to be one of the most important things. If you don't have something a lot of people want, a lot of people are willing to pay for, you got a problem. So, like for example, what do a lot of people want today?
Financial freedom.
Do a lot of people want financial freedom?
Yeah.
Are a lot of people looking for a lot of vehicles that will create financial freedom for them?
Yes.
So if you've got a vehicle that can create financial freedom and you can show it to them, are a lot of people interested?
Yes.
Yeah, so you know that's definitely. How about learning business skills? Is there a lot of demand right now for people who want to learn how to be more successful in business?
Yes.
How about people that want more leads? Do you think there are a lot of demand? If you can generate leads for customers, do you think you'll be in high demand?
Yes.
How about if you can train people to become great at selling, great at closing? Is there a high demand for that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people. Everybody I know needs more leads, more sales. Raise your hand if you know people like that. If you can solve that problem, is there a high demand?
Yes.
Would people pay for more leads, more sales?
Oh,
Everybody sure would. Okay, so in order for that to happen, you have to have RK, which stands for what?
Right knowledge.
The right knowledge. You got to know marketing skills, selling skills. You got to know your target market. You need to know business skills. You need to know negotiating skills. You need to know finance skills. You need to know operational skills, production skills. Aren't there a lot of skills you need to know?
Yeah.
And the better you know those skills, the more successful you're going to be. True or true?
True.
Okay, and finally, RY stands for what?
Right here.
The right you. What's that mean, the right you? What's it mean?
What's that?
Mindset.
Yeah, if you're a level 1 person, if you're great at starting stuff and terrible at finishing stuff, if almost everything you do you fail at, if almost everything you do you have a bad attitude about, if you're constantly switching from one thing to another thing, if you can never stick at anything for more than a year, 2 years at the very, very most, if you're that person that's constantly going through that, and you're a level 1 or level 2 person, does it matter what vehicle you're in or what knowledge you have?
Nope.
If you're a lazy person that screws off every single day at noon, you're willing to work from 10 till noon, after that is party time. And those are your habits. If you're that person, what's the likelihood you're ever going to be successful no matter what vehicle you get into?
It's not likely.
What's the most important part of all of this?
Right you.
What's the foundation?
Right you.
What are the roots?
You.
Yeah, you are the roots. Say, I am the root. If you're level 10 roots, then you know what kind of results you're going to get?
Level 10.
Level 10. So the first thing you got to do is make sure you focus on yourself. Now, we talk about this thing, wealth funnel number 15. We're just 16. This is the second to last one. This is my favorite one, amazingly, because this is really all about warrior. What's it about?
Warrior.
It's about becoming that unstoppable you. Because until you become that unstoppable you, you will be stopped. And you know who's going to stop you?
Yourselves.
You will stop yourself 100% of the time. And the only reason you're not financially free right now is because guess who's stopping you all day long, every day?
Me.
Your current blueprint, your current programming, right? So wealth funnel number 16 says, rich people act in spite of fear. Let me hear you say that.
Rich people act in spite of fear.
Say it like at a level 10.
Rich people act in spite of fear.
And poor people let fear stop them. Let me hear you.
Poor people let fear stop them.
Again, please.
Poor people let fear stop them.
Yeah, exactly. So what does Harv say? Harv starts off this wealth fall by reminding us about something critically important because it is everything. It's everything. And it goes like this. It says, thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. Okay, that's called, what do we call this?
T-fart.
Yeah, T-FAR. We have a name for it. What's it called? The process
Of manifestation.
What's it called, guys?
Process of manifestation.
Again, please.
Process of manifestation.
This is how it is. and you better tattoo this to your brain. Thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. Let me hear you say it.
Thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results.
Okay, now our thoughts and our feelings, are they part of the inner world or part of the outer world?
Inner world.
Yeah, and in fact, when we talk about our blueprint, we're talking about our thoughts and our feelings in that particular area. So if you have a success blueprint, what are your thoughts and what are your feelings in the whole realm of success, right? That's what they are. So thoughts and feelings, they're part of the inner world. Results, they are part of the inner world or the outer world?
Outer world.
Outer world. The results are outside of us. So then action is critical. Why is action critical?
It's the bridge.
Action is the bridge. Action is the what?
The bridge.
That brings the inner world to the outer world. You can sit and meditate all you want. You can wish and hope and dream all you want, but until you take real action in the real world, you will not get real results. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, how many would agree?
Agree.
Okay, so if thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results, then how important is action in the process of creating results?
Critically important.
Yep.
And without action, it's everything,
It's
right?
everything.
If you want massive results, then by definition, what do you need to take? Massive action. How many would agree? Okay. So how many of you would agree that in order for you to become successful, for you to become financially free in the next 2 years, for you to have these massive results, you're going to have to take massive action? How many would agree? Anybody not agree? Okay, so is there anybody out there in Facebook land that doesn't agree? Or is it, hopefully everybody agrees.
Tim says I don't agree.
Oh, Tim says he doesn't. Oh, okay. So then the all-important question is this. If we know that the only way to get massive results is to take massive actions, then the all-important question is this. What stops us from taking the actions we know we need to take in order to be successful? What stops us?
Thoughts and feelings. Thoughts and feelings.
Our thoughts and our feelings. How many would agree? Our programming. Our programming is what stops us from taking the actions we know, and our thoughts and our feelings, you need to understand this, and Harv talks about it, and I talk about it in warrior training, is you need to understand your own brain. Did you know that you have 2 brains? Raise your hand if you know that. It's not a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere. We have the old part of our brain, which sits right at the stem, right at the top of the base of our spine, right? And that's called our reptilian brain. And then we have all the rest of the brain that's grown over many, many, many centuries. And when you look on an x-ray or when they do a dissection of a brain, you can actually see the 2 different parts to the brain. Raise your hand if you understand.
Mm-hmm.
So the oldest part of our brain is called the reptilian brain.
Yep.
And that reptilian brain, what it does is it organizes and filters all of the information and sends it to all the rest of the brain. Now, the reptilian brain was when we were reptiles. Back then, we didn't care about being happy and successful, making a lot of money. When we were reptiles, you know what we cared about?
Survival.
Survival. Our brains are a survival mechanism. They are not a success mechanism. They are not a happiness mechanism. They are a survival mechanism. What are they?
Survival.
So a survival mechanism means our brain is based in fear. What's the word?
Fear.
You can't help it. You can't help living in fear all day long, every day. It's part of who you are. The brain, the medulla, the part of the brain, the reptilian brain, every piece of information you've ever absorbed in your entire life goes through the medulla first to filter out, because its job is to look for what could possibly go wrong. which is why our favorite expression that our little voice talks to us about all day long is, what if? What if? Raise your hand if you've ever heard yourself say that to yourself. Well, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if this happened? It's looking for everything that can go wrong. True. Yeah, and its job is to keep us right inside of our comfort zone. It is. And so we are all, what's the word? All. Fear-based people. You're based in fear. You're based in fear. I'm based in fear. We all are. And every person you meet, because of the fact that we have a reptilian brain, and that reptilian brain is set for survival. What's the word?
Survival.
So when we go to our brain and say, brain, why am I not happy? Brain, how come I'm not making as much money? What could I be doing? It's like going to an accountant and asking legal questions. It's not programmed to answer those questions. Your brain is not programmed to show you how to be happy and successful. Your brain is programmed to show you how to survive and how to be fearful of everything that could stop you from surviving. You guys understand that? Yes. And the best way for that to be happening is for your brain to keep you right where you are inside your comfort zone. It doesn't care if you're happy. It doesn't care if you're successful. All it knows is when you're here, you're surviving. I don't give a shit if you're unhappy. I don't give a shit if you're poor. Too bad, you're surviving. That's what we care about, surviving. You guys understand that?
Yeah.
Until you understand that from the day you were born, that's been put into every single thought you have, you will live in a state of fear. And by the way, that little voice is all those fears. Now, is that little voice ever going to go away?
No.
Ever?
No.
It's its job. And if you're about to fall off a cliff to your death, and it says, step back! Thank God you have it, right?
Right.
The problem is, it's worried about all kinds of things, imaginary and real.
Right.
True?
True.
And so, what we want to do is we need to understand what fear is. And who can give me the definition of fear?
False evidence appearing real.
False evidence appearing real is an acronym. I'm talking about a definition. Good idea though, Joey. Very good. Okay, yes. Fear is?
Anticipating something that hasn't happened yet.
Okay, you're close. Thank you. Fear. You should write this down, guys. Anticipation of pain. That's what fear means. Now let me ask you guys something. Anticipation. Is that in the past, in the present, or in the future?
The future.
Future.
Does the future exist?
Nope. It's
No,
not,
you know,
hasn't happened yet.
Let's prove it. Okay, I want all of you guys to raise your hand tomorrow. Go ahead, raise your hand tomorrow.
I'm afraid.
Why can't you do it?
I'm afraid.
You're afraid.
Because it's in the future.
Because tomorrow doesn't exist. Only in our mind. And so does fear. You guys understand that?
Yeah.
Anticipation's in the future. Our story's made up, our mind has made up a story, and now we bought that story. And now we're afraid like hell that that story's good, that's the way it is. And so we stop ourselves. And we do it all day long, every day. And until you become a warrior and train your mind to tame the cobra of fear. What's the expression?
The cobra of fear.
Which is what warrior training is about. You are not going to suddenly go from being a person that's lived in fear 100% of your life to overcome it in like the snap of a finger. It's a practice. What's the word? Practice. You have to practice being courageous. Raise your hand if you agree. And when can you practice being courageous? Only when you feel what? Fear. If there's no fear, do you need to be courageous? No. Do you need to be courageous to sit down and eat your morning breakfast? No. Then you don't need to be courageous.
Depends on what you're eating.
Yeah, you're right. Depends on what you're eating. That's right. But most of the time, for most people, right? So the only time you can be courageous is when you face Fear. Guess how often throughout the day you can face your fears. Guess how often throughout the day?
All the time.
Every day.
And the more you consciously say, I hear the fear, I feel the fear, but you know what? I don't have to listen to it at all. I can do it in spite. True or true? And at warrior training, we set up what's called predicaments. What's the word?
Predicaments.
And we put you in a predicament and say, now your brain is saying, oh shit, what am I going to do now? How am I going to get past this? How am I going to overcome this? Because how many would agree to be successful, you're going to have to overcome obstacles? Right? Now, are the obstacles ever going to stop, or there's always going to be obstacles?
Always.
So what's more important, the size of the obstacle or the size of you? Because the obstacles are always going to be there. True or true? Now, if you face an obstacle and you let that obstacle beat you, what are you practicing? What else are you practicing?
Fear.
Yeah, you're practicing being stopped by obstacles. That's what you're getting good at. You'll get really, 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 really good at being stopped by obstacles. But every time you overcome an obstacle, what are you practicing?
Resilience.
Right? What else are you, besides resilience? You're right. Every time you overcome an obstacle, what are you practicing?
Massive action.
Are you growing?
Yes.
After you solve that problem, once you've done it, could you do it again? Yeah, the hardest time is the first time or the second time, right? So if you're constantly solving problems, if you're constantly overcoming obstacles, if you're constantly acting in spite of your fears, eventually things that you could never do or you were afraid to do, you do them without even thinking about them. True or true? You grew into that person. True or true? Okay. So we don't have time to really get into the wealth all the way we want to. Next week we will. But the thing I wanted to make sure we understood today was the process of manifestation, because that's the first thing Hart talks about in this wealth file, and why fear stops every single one of you from reaching your full potential. How many would agree? And I would say the greatest training you could ever do is take my warrior training. And I'm going to start it back up again. And if you haven't signed up for it and taken it, it's the best $500 you will ever invest in your entire life if your goal is to become financially free. It's an investment in growing warrior. Because until you have that energy, I guarantee you know who your worst enemy is going to be?
Yourself.
Every time. Every time. Because you have a medulla. You have a reptilian brain.
What is it?
And I'm going to be starting up not this Monday, but the following Monday. If you want, just get a hold of me. I'll give you all the information. Those of you that have already taken it, you get to sign. It's free for you guys. You've already paid. Once you pay once, you get it forever. So it's worth it. And you know, you get a workbook. I send you. I mean, by the time you're done, the workbook itself is like about 40 some odd pages, and you've been writing in all of them. And if you just review your notes, you will become a warrior, right? So what I want to do is let's wrap it up for today. So let's have everybody please stand up with some energy. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we'll put our hands on our heart. Okay, and we're gonna repeat after me. I am a warrior. I act in spite of fear. Let me hear you.
I am a warrior. I act in spite of fear.
Again.
I am a warrior. I act in spite of fear.
Okay, one more time, twice as loud.
I am a warrior. I act in spite of fear.
Okay, turn to both your neighbors, give them a high five, say, you have a millionaire mind. All right, okay, so, very good. So let's give it up for Randy, our videographer. So we're gonna well, we will in a second. I'm just gonna say goodbye to all of our Facebook friends. And thank you guys so much for showing up. I always end with one word. That one word is
Namaste.